noise because I'm knocking that. Oh. Great. Yep, don't mind me. Don't mind me. Hi everybody, I'm back for another video. Today I thought I'd go through what I wrote in my personal statement and go through a kind of draft that I wrote and then compare it to my finished thing and how I made tweaks to it. So hopefully this will be useful if you're just making final adjustments, or even if you haven't started, I'll go through what I included. I'll put both my draft and my final personal statement in the description below so you can follow along with the video. Don't take me as an expert. I feel like as far as personal statements go, mine isn't the best you'll come across. I might make you feel better about yours because yours is probably way better than mine. So I'm here for everyone. I'm just kind of saying what I did in case it might be helpful. So yeah, let's get started. Let me just get it up on my laptop. Some of the parts of my personal statement make me really cringe, so I'm really sorry if it makes you cringe too. Especially my first draft. It is full of things that you should never put in a personal statement, but I just did not know that at that stage, so forgive the past me for my mistakes. Because I was applying for natural sciences, I wanted to make sure that I spoke about physics, chemistry and maths because all the courses I was applying for contained all three of those subjects. I know it'll be different for other people because not everyone's going to apply for such a broad degree as I was. So, opening paragraph. I know lots of people stress about this. They think, how the hell am I going to start my personal statement? I thought so too. In the end, I didn't come up with anything that amazing. So I feel good about that. You see, I've done okay with a pretty crappy opening, so don't stress over it too much. I put, as a naturally inquisitive person, I am intrigued by scientific research and development. Now, I did not have that originally. I had, science is inevitably my calling in life. Cringe, cringe, cringe. Oh my god. It's one of those cringe, you know, what are they called? Cliche lines that you really do not want to include. Like, anyone could write that. Does it tell them anything about you, about your passion for the subject? I think not. It does not make you stand out whatsoever to the admissions tutors. They'll just think, bye-bye. In my first draft, at the end of my first paragraph, I put, lessons always leave me with questions about the mechanics of the world and encourage wider thinking, which I consider to be the best way to educate myself. Now, I ended up changing that because I was writing about educating myself and I thought, will they like that? The fact that I'm thinking I can educate myself? Because I'm going to the uni to be taught. Like, they're not going to want people who think they know better than them. I know it's being really nitpicky, but you've got to be like that with personal statements. So in the end, I changed it to, I want to be able to answer these questions. That kind of left it open as to, they're going to be teaching me, but also I'm going to be independent. I'm going to take responsibility for my own learning, but I'm going to learn from them, if you get me. So my first paragraph, you might notice, was originally 2 sentences. I increased it to 3, so I wanted to make it a bit more of an opening. I kind of elaborated on my interests, saying that physics and chemistry were my favourite subjects, backed by an affinity for pure mathematics. I mean, whether that's true, who knows? You notice I cut the always. You will notice between my draft and my final thing, I have cut out the odd word, tried to shorten my character count to try and fit the limit. My second paragraph, I wrote about astrophysics, because I felt like astrophysics was quite important. It's probably the area of science that I'm interested in most at the moment, so it got prime position in the personal statement. Originally, I started the paragraph with, I am interested in astrophysics. I later changed it to, astrophysics really interests me. This was just because I didn't want too many paragraphs starting with I just wanted to change it up a bit. I then went on to say that it's exciting to think that life may exist in extraterrestrial locations, basically aliens. So I put originally, I strongly believe in aliens. Anyway, I had someone from college read over my personal statement and they were like, you can't say that because what if you were wrong? And people might disagree with you. You don't want to risk having your personal statement read by someone who really doesn't believe that and they think this girl has such a closed mindset that she already thinks she knows everything without even doing the degree, and aliens clearly do exist according to her. I've got to leave it open. I changed it to, it's exciting to think, because it kind of conveys that I'm really excited about the fact that aliens might exist, but I know there's a chance they might not. and they clearly know better than me. Don't get me wrong, aliens exist. Just saying. Definitely in other areas of the universe, there are going to be other living creatures that we just haven't discovered yet. Like, they're not just a science fiction thing. Trust me on this one. Wait for it. Give me 10 years, I'll have discovered them. I then wrote about a lecture I went to on the Rosetta space mission. It was at a university near to where I live. It was one of those open lectures where any members of the public can come along and sit and watch. So I went along to it, made notes on it. It was interesting. I went in my AS year. I went because I was interested in astrophysics and I thought, oh hey, this might link to it. I specified some of the things I learnt in the lecture. Don't just say, oh, I went to a lecture without specifying what you gained from it. I wrote about, for example, the comet's layered onion-like structure. At the end of my astrophysics paragraph, I originally had, I cannot wait to be the person making the scientific breakthroughs. I changed this. I was told when giving my personal statement to someone else to read that sounded a bit big-headed and that I should be like, I'll be one of the people making the scientific discoveries. I shouldn't like toot my own horn too much, like I'm going to be the next Isaac Newton, I'm going to be the next Albert Einstein, I'm going to make the greatest discoveries, woohoo! Like, don't put that. So while it's really good to big yourself up in your personal statement, be like, you're the best, you're amazing, pick me for this degree, also, like, tone it down, like, don't go too far. I went on to talk about chemistry in my third paragraph in my final personal statement. I specified parts of the chemistry A-level syllabus that I liked. For example, I wrote about spectroscopy. I quite liked in chemistry A-level, piecing together different parts of the puzzle to identify the molecule. I quite enjoyed that, although it really was tough at sometimes. Although in my final exam, I identified the molecule, guys, so all that NMR practice paid off. Don't forget that it's more than acceptable to write about bits in your A-level syllabuses that interest you. Like, while it's good to do things like, you know, above and beyond the specification, it's good to like specify things that you just learn about normally that you're really interested in and write about why you're interested in it, and, you know, maybe you want to look into it further or you're excited about doing it at degree level. Now, originally in my first draft, or one of my earlier drafts, I did put in about how I liked the naming system. I think I don't know how you say it, if you say it like IUPAC. I say IUPAC, but I'm pretty sure it's IUPAC, which is the naming system of molecules in chemistry, if you know. I was like investigating possible exceptions, which was true. I found it really interesting. I don't know why. I had a bit of an obsession with it in my first year, but then I gave my personal statement to a chemistry teacher at my college, and they were like, to be honest, the higher level chemists don't really care about it that much, and it's not like you could include much better material than that in your personal statement. I know it shouldn't be like this, but you kind of got to think, oh, who's reading my personal statement? Are they going to be interested in that? And she was like, probably not. You guys know that I was interested in the naming of molecules. I then wrote about chemistry enrichment sessions, which is an example of a supercurricular activity which Oxbridge like you to write about in your personal statement. Supercurricular is basically extracurriculars that relate to your subject. So my college ran these chemistry enrichment sessions. I went on a trip to a local university and we got to use some of the lab equipment there, some of the fancier stuff that they don't have in colleges. I specified some of the equipment I used. I also used to have in this paragraph in my initial draft, my passion for chemistry was confirmed. The word passionate, I was told when I went to a personal statement kind of guidance talk at a local uni, they said avoid the word passionate and words like that. I think just because a lot of people use it, they'll read through like 10 personal statements one after the other and they'll all go, I'm so passionate about chemistry, I'm so passionate about chemistry, and they'll be so bored and you really won't stick out. It's kind of useless words, isn't it? Like, I think it goes without saying when you're applying for a course that you've got a passion for the course. Like, my passion for chemistry was confirmed. That's such a throwaway line that could be filled with so much more like better stuff in your personal statement. Let's not mess about. You do have a restricted limit to the number of characters you can have, so don't waste those characters on kind of cliches or words that everyone's going to use that don't really mean much at all, really. I did use up the character limit, by the way. You can have up to 4,000. According to Word, I had 3,958. Although I think I had more than that, because I definitely went up to the maximum, like, bar a couple of characters. So I think the UCAS character system is slightly different to Word. So if you're working on your personal statement and you want to check your characters, there are things online. I'll maybe link one down below, which is like a UCAS character count site. So it will count the characters as UCAS does when doing your personal statement, so you can check if it will fit, because it counts it slightly different to Word. I don't know how characters can be counted differently, but apparently they can. I would always advise using up all your characters or close to it, because other people will, and if you've only written like a half-length personal statement, other people will have crammed in so much more stuff that might impress the admissions tutors rather than you. So another thing worth mentioning is the Cambridge SAQ, which is the Supplementary Admissions Questionnaire. This is just specific to Cambridge, but they have an extra admissions questionnaire which you can write another like mini personal statement just for Cambridge. So if you're applying for a different course elsewhere, then you can write a personal statement that's more specific, like why you want to go to Cambridge specifically and why their course is perfect for you. I didn't use it because I was applying for natural sciences everywhere, so I felt like I said everything I needed to in my personal statement, but it might be useful to some people. And then I ended my chemistry paragraph by writing about the Cambridge Chemistry Challenge. Now, I'm sure a lot of people will have done things like Olympiads in whatever subject you're doing, or things like the Cambridge Chemistry Challenge, and yeah, it is good to write about those in your personal statement, but make sure you write what you gained from them. It's no good just saying, oh, I got a gold award in the Cambridge Chemistry Challenge, or ooh, I got a gold award in the Maths Olympiad. It's no good saying that when you haven't kind of said what you got from it. So be like, I did the Maths Olympiad and I learned about perseverance when faced with challenging maths problems. Woohoo! Whenever you write something in your personal statement, ask yourself, what did I get from it? And write it in the next sentence. So yeah, I ended up saying it was a lesson in developing resilience and resourcefulness needed to face difficult questions. I took out the part about saying that I was a perfectionist, because I am a perfectionist, but I thought maybe it will be taken in like a negative way. Being a perfectionist isn't always a good thing, as much as it pains me to say it, because I love perfection. Right, so originally over the summer holiday I was supposed to be doing this thermodynamics online course thing that they had. It was like a few weeks and you had to complete work every week for it. Anyway, I tried the first week and they lost me like after the first couple of like lesson things they had there, so I kind of gave up with that, so hence why that was cut out from the actual thing. I admit I was writing about it before I'd completed it, but I don't think I'm the only one guilty of that. Another thing, don't write about books if you haven't read them. Make sure you've read them. They could ask you about it at interview if the university is interviewing you. I know a fair few unis do interview these days. I had interviews at Cambridge and Southampton. It depends what subject it's for though. Like I'm talking for natural sciences, but I know for medicine you get interviewed everywhere with different... Actually, I'm not even going to talk like I know about it, but okay, interviews are a thing and you might well be interviewed for a place on a course. So don't lie in your personal statement because they could ask you about it. In my next paragraph, in my final personal statement, I went on to talk about a material science book I read called Stuff Matters by Mark Miodownik. I read it in maybe spring of my AS year. I decided to read the book because I was planning on going on this material science summer course, so I thought it'd be good preparation and I can read around the subject, and I did think, oh, maybe I could write about it in my personal statement if it interests me. So I specified a chapter in the book that I really liked, so if you read a book or you read an article, kind of specify the bits that really interest you, what you looked into further. I originally had, I cannot believe how a material composed of 99% air can have such useful properties. I changed that though. I changed it to, it's hard to believe. You might be thinking, well, that sounds exactly the same, but it doesn't, because I cannot believe kind of indicates a like closed mindset. I don't want to learn. I think what I think. I could go on the degree course, go to a lecture, and I'll be like to the lecturer, I don't believe you. Cannot believe that. That's not the message I wanted to put across. I still wanted to learn, but I was saying it's hard to believe. Like, wow, I was shocked at the fact that I found out that the material was composed of 99% air, if you get me. I then went on to talk about a summer school I went on, which was good. That was at Cambridge. It was doing material science. It was a Head Start summer school. If you're interested, I'll link it down below because applications are open now if you want to go on that. I wrote about what interested me at the summer school. I identified my favourite lecture I went to. I still said it was fascinating to learn. See, I used the word fascinating. I think I did have the word fascinating like more than once. You can on some of these UCAS character count things I mentioned before also. You can check for like words repeated more than once. So you can check that you're not saying it was amazing or amazing, the word amazing, like 10 times or 5 times or even 3 times is maybe a bit excessive for the word amazing. So you can kind of double check that you haven't repeated words too many times without having to read through it, because that can take quite a lot of time. I like this bit when I spoke about this steel screw that I was looking at on my material science summer course, saw the grains of the sample. That is going tiny, isn't it? Tiny specifics. Here I went on to talk about kind of my outside interests. They say the UCAS advised proportions is 80% academic and your subject, and 20% of your personal statement should be about your extracurricular activities. Oxbridge are obviously different because they don't care about extracurriculars, but all other unis do, so still include that in your personal statement. I had quite a short, only a few, 1, 2, 3 sentences in the end I put about extracurriculars that weren't related to my subject. In my personal statement, I kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone, if that's the saying. I satisfied the requirement of other universities to include extracurricular things on my personal statement because I'd written about academic extracurriculars which would interest Oxbridge and other unis. Boom! I play in a youth band, I play the clarinet, so I spoke about that. And then I also wrote about my part-time job, my Saturday job, and I thought I'd kind of put the skills that I got from it. So think about, there's probably a lot of things that you do that you think wouldn't be worth putting in a personal statement, but often they are. If you have extra hobbies and stuff like that, like if you do, say, netball for example, you probably learnt teamworking skills from playing in the team. They want to know that you're a well-rounded person and not just, you don't just like read books for example. Unless you're going to Oxbridge, they just want people who read books. So in my final personal statement, I wrote about the engineering education scheme in the next paragraph. In my draft, this is a paragraph earlier on, so you might need to scroll up. See, I really hope you're with me right now because I don't even think I'm with myself. A little bit of background. Engineering education scheme. There was 6 of us from my college. We worked with a company called Mott MacDonald, which is like an engineering company thing. And one of their projects they were working on was plans for a dam in Pakistan, and it was extending it. And so we were given this as our project, and we had to do calculations ourselves. It was kind of a taste of what it would be like to be an engineer. And so it was designed to kind of introduce people to engineering and for people to see if engineering is something they might want to go into. At the time I was considering engineering as a degree. I did the engineering education scheme. I decided afterwards that engineering was not for me. But no, it was actually really fun, and obviously I wrote about it in my personal statement. It wasn't so much related to my, well, it kind of related to my subjects. I suppose it's physics, maths, etc. and engineering. But I put it in more for the fact it was extracurricular, and I knew other universities I'd apply to other than Cambridge would be interested in that. Okay, so ending your personal statement. I feel my ending, pretty much the same as my beginning, was pretty crap. Not gonna lie, but this is what I put. So I finished off, I originally had a separate paragraph, but I could only think of like 2 sentences, and I could only fit 2 sentences actually, to be honest, within my character limit. So I just kind of tagged it onto the end of my engineering education scheme paragraph. I put, I didn't want to limit myself to one specific field at this stage of my education, which is true. See, it was a bit of a cop-out, to be honest, my ending. I'm not even, you can read it, but I don't know. I wasn't completely satisfied. I just gave up after a while. I was like, this will do. Send it off. The stress of the application is too much. So I hope this video has been helpful and you can kind of take some tips from mine, or even if you're just interested to see what I wrote and how I came from like my draft to my final thing and what I included, then here you go. Good luck with writing your personal statements and good luck with your university applications. I'm sure you'll do fine. And yeah, let me know how you get on. Next video, I will probably be putting up my vlog of freshers. I'm so excited. Subscribe for that. If you want to see that, then subscribe. Why not, you know? And yeah, see you then. Bye.